This tip I'm about to share now is mind blowing. You probably clicked this video because you want to learn new ways on how to study effectively. This is not a random video where they talk about how to study effectively without giving you proven tips and guide. Here in this video, I'll be listing out 3 mega tips that will actually help you to study efficiently and effectively. Quick intro, my name is Aniek Michael. I talk about study tip, personal development and healthy lifestyle. Let's shoot! First on the list is timing and energy levels. Timing refers to allocating your time to different learning activities, which includes when to study, how long to study, and when to take regular breaks. Knowing your time can actually help you to understand your body. That is when your mind is relaxed and your body is full of energy to actually study effectively. Let's say I'm this guy that likes studying at dawn and at first light. This is when my body is relaxed, my mind is relaxed, and my body is full of energy to actually study effectively without losing focus or getting burned out easily, simply because there is no noise from the background or distraction from notification. You know what I'm talking about, your YouTube, your Instagram, or your Twitter notification. So you probably want to put that phone in airplane mode or silence it. Now you've heard a little bit of me. Maybe you can relate it to yourself to choose the time zone that best suits you for you to study effectively. But if you haven't done that yet, I'm here for you. You probably want to choose a time when you have less distraction and your mind is at perfect peace, because it's very, very important. That is before going to bed and after bed. There's a reason behind this decision. Our brain tends to retain 50% of the information that we consume before going to bed, and by revisiting this information very early in the morning, there are chances that you retain this information for a longer period of time. Now, set out clear goals. Before you study, you ask yourself, why do I want to study? Yes, if I'm to ask myself that question, I'll probably be able to answer because I know that I'm studying because I have exams, or I'm studying that so that I will get ahead of my teachers and other dudes who don't know the drill. Now, the second one is create a study schedule. Plan out when and how you want to study, coupled with the topics you want to study, because I see a lot of students make this mistake. When they are creating schedule on how to study, when to study, they don't add the topics they want to study in that particular subject. This calls for them that whenever they want to study, they spend 15 minutes on the table looking for the topic they want to study, and at the end of the day, they become so unproductive. Majority of them even leave the table self without even studying because they get burned out just for looking out for topics. So before you go on that table to study, make sure you make schedules and plans on the topic you want to study the day before you study exams. Now, make use of active learning techniques. Don't just read through your notes. Knowing all these techniques can actually make studying more enjoyable. For me, I make use of active recall. It is the process whereby you learn a concept, then you close the book and try to reaffirmate this concept. Then when you get it right, you have made use of active recall. I see some dudes out there making use of passive learning. They learn concept by repeating it over and over again, trying to get it into their head without understanding. When you do this, you're making use of passive learning, and that is not a proven effective way to study effectively. And also, Pomodoro technique. It is a proven method whereby you study for 25 minutes and take 5 minutes break. But if 25 minutes looks so timid for you, you can scale it up to 45 minutes, then maybe you can take 10 minutes break. This technique was found by Francis Cosarello in the late 1980s. By learning a concept and trying to explain it to other people, if you can explain what you have learned to other people that they understand it well enough, then you should consider yourself the smartest of all. This is called the Feynman technique, whereby you learn a concept, then you meet one of your friends and try to explain that note that you learned. It's one of the fastest and easiest ways to learn a concept or learn something new. Now, the second on the list is environment. Choosing a time zone, that is timing and energy level, doesn't necessarily mean you will study effectively. If your environment is not in a proper condition, proper environment comes with less distraction, while rugged environment comes with more distraction, just like the name rugged. So make sure that your reading space is clean and conducive for effectiveness during studying. I'm this guy that whenever I want to study, I will make sure that I clear my desk, leaving only I and the textbook on top of the table. That way, I'll be able to enter into what I call a flow state, where nothing around me matters except that thing that I'm doing, because I'll probably be busy trying to find a solution to solve that particular problem in front of me. But let's say you have maybe something like a pin or maybe your smartphone on the table. That pin or smartphone is probably your enemy at that particular point in time. especially when we are studying more complicated subjects or topics. Maybe you might just want to take a look away and just you might look at the pin and you get distracted, and for you to regain consciousness again, according to science, it's going to take 5 minutes. Imagine you keep doing all those things over and over again, you're probably going to burn out. So remove all distractions, and after studying, maybe you can use social media or any other thing that gives you pleasure as a reward for doing deep work session. Now, another thing you should try and practice is spaced repetition. This technique has been proven to be one of the easiest and most effective way of studying. Spaced repetition is a process whereby you learn cognitive concepts of cognitive materials at intervals over and over again. Here's how it works. Maybe if you want to study for like 3 hours now, then maybe you can study those concepts for one hour at a range. Then tomorrow you can come back to those materials and study them again instead of studying all of them at 3 hours at a bunch, because you definitely won't remember everything after leaving that table. Yes, it's normal. You might study it and you will forget. But tomorrow again, when you try out the same thing and you learn this information, there's a probability you only forget 10% of it. And when you try the next day, that is that 3 hours, you space it out in the 3 days. You see that you retain this for information for a longer period of time than someone that is just going for 3 hours at a street or at a hook. So you probably don't want to do that. If you have gotten up to this point, it's not up to the channel will be much appreciated. So do well to hit that subscribe button and like this video so that YouTube will recommend it to others. Let's continue. Now, the last but not the least is habit. Habit is a behavioral pattern that you have built over time through repetition and consistent exposure. Good habits, they say, is very hard to build, and when being built is very difficult to dissolve. While bad habits are very easy to build, and when being built is very hard to dissolve. So the quality of our lives depends on the quality of our habits. Make sure you build a good habit no matter how small it is, especially when it relates to studying and learning. So maybe you might plan out to study 30 minutes every day, and to you it might look very small, but those small tiny habits, they count for a long period of time. So you probably want to stay consistent towards it, because you are just 1 mile away from getting to that point where you think, oh my god, I understand everything. So keep practicing and studying small. From there, you get to another level. The aggregation of marginal gains was the philosophy of searching for tiny margins of improvement in everything you do. Like I said earlier, start small. Start studying like 30 minutes, then give yourself 5 minutes straight by making use of Pomodoro technique. By doing all those small ones, before you know it, you can scale up. Here is a more detailed breakdown of the aggregation of marginal gains. Let's say you have an ice cube sitting in front of you. The room is very cold and you can literally see your breath. It's currently 25 degrees. Then the room begins to heat up. 26 degrees, 27 degrees, 28 degrees. The ice cube is still sitting on the table. Nothing has changed. 28 degrees all the way to 33 degrees. Nothing has changed. Immediately it clocked 34 degrees. The ice begins to melt. Did you notice that a 1 degree shift has unlocked a new change? So if you have been studying for 30 minutes every day or even 1 hour every day, don't look down on it, because it's actually impacting you. You're just 1 mile away from getting to that level where you'll be excited, knowing that you have covered a lot of topic from the studying you have been doing. Remember, 1000 minus 1 is less than 1000. So keep studying and keep going. If you're having problem changing your habit, the problem isn't you. The problem is your system. Bad habits repeat themselves again and again. It's just that you are using the wrong system to change for the habit to occur. But there is a solution to that. Firstly, start studying small. Start studying what you love until you love studying. Probably out of your 9 subjects or the courses you offer, there is this 5 subjects or even less that you know very well, that whenever you go to those ones, you understand it very well. Start with those ones, and as time goes on, you can switch. Remember, the goal is not to read a book. The goal is to become a reader. So by doing all those small tiny ones, like the ones that doesn't really stress you out, as you grow into studying, you actually migrate to those ones that are quite challenging. Allocate specific time to each subject based on their complexity and your individual needs. It's always good to study those complicated subjects very early in the morning, because you just wake up and there's nothing running through your mind. That way you'll be able to understand this subject. So it's always good to allocate them based on your time of comfort, when you know that you are relaxed, so that you can be able to grasp understanding of the subject or the topic more, because it's very important, that aspect. Now, if you have gotten up to this point, Do well to hit that subscribe button and punch that notification bell to get notified whenever I drop my exploring videos.